All right, we are live. Let's get a podcast rolling. I was thinking about skipping one today, but I'm like, man, the subject matter on your mind right now, gosh dang well, you ain't gonna remember this later on. You're not gonna remember it when you want to do a podcast, because by the time you want to do a podcast, you want to do a complete different subject matter. So I'm like, all right, you're correct. Let's do this real quick. But all right, man. Well, number one, the world's dysfunctional. It just is. Everything is dysfunctional, man. It all is, right? We already know that, okay? Now, when you got, let's say, you got a dysfunctional household raising dysfunctional kids. That's usually the case because not everyone's perfect. But the thing is no one's working on themselves either. You know what I mean? They're just normalizing everything, right? So, these kids grow up in that environment. They learn that environment. They adapt to that environment. They normalize what's normalized in that environment. And they think that everything outside of that environment is going to be the same environment. Okay? But the thing is, when they start to transition into adulthood, it comes to a shock that they see that everything's not what I thought it was. Okay? So they're going to be trying to be a trooper, tough out life and whatnot. But it's going to be tougher than anything because, I don't know, let's put you in your 20s. 20s is a good one because that's when all the traps are available. Traps are highly available. You can get caught up. If you thought high school was a big trap to get you caught up, no. People that got caught up in high school, well, they're going to stay caught up. And they're going to transition into their 20s, and they're going to get caught up in even more. They're going to have more to recover from because they got trapped at a younger age. Now, I'm talking about in your 20s, right? So, you're trying to tough it out the best that you could. Say your school life wasn't so great, Maybe you had some friends, but you weren't the coolest, you know what I mean? You didn't get to go to all these exclusive parties and all that other bull crap, blah, 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 that was going on, blah, blah, blah. But you're in your 20s, you're trying to troop it out, blah, 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 and you're taking on stuff that you have learned from your environment. Now, number one, when it comes to an environment, period, you're going to attract stuff that attracts to those type of environments. You obtain that energy because you're not going to know that you got to get rid of that stuff before you even transition into adulthood anyway. 20s is time to build, but the thing is we don't implement that in their mind that, yo, this is your time to build. Don't get caught up in a trap because that's where they all get caught up, First, they might find distractions, animals, they'll get the animals, they want animals because they want something to depend on them so they feel like they're doing something right in life, But the thing is like they need to really just work on themselves. But they're too busy scattering around for what's going on around them instead of looking on what's within themselves, right? They don't want to work on that. They keep ignoring themselves to please what is going on the outside. So not only are they attracting stuff from the environment that they grew up in and stuff like that, those same similar type of energy, coming in, but also they're developing even newer ones by people they're meeting and all that stuff. Because when you're in your 20s, that's one of the best times to start meeting people. That's why it's very easy to get trapped up because you can be exposed to a whole nother form of life that you weren't exposed to in your high school years. You know what I mean? So, you're going to find stuff that don't exist. And remember, curiosity kills the cat. So you keep that in mind when you're getting curious. You know what I mean? But, yeah, so, they start getting animals, they want something to depend on them, right? They get this and they want this to depend on them, right? So, they're doing what they need to do to accomplish things in life. They got something to depend on them, so they have a reason to care. But the thing is they're neglecting themselves in the process, right? They're busy focusing on pleasing others, blah, 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 blah. And then they're focusing on attending their pets or pet, whatever, how many pets you got. Because I know some 20-year-olds, like, they got pets by the boatload for crying out loud, because they're always wanting to take care of people, but they want to take care of their pets and whatnot, but they don't want to take care of themselves, which, it don't make sense. But actually, it does make sense if you're in that type of mind state, because you just don't know what to do with yourself. So all you're doing is just trying to care for what you can. That's the mentality. I mean, they mean well. They just don't know what they're doing. They don't know that you really just need to take care of yourself. That's all you got to do. You just got to take care of yourself. Usually, 100% of the time, you just got to take care of yourself, period. You know what I mean? But we live in a society where that stuff is neglected. They reject getting self-help. They reject that, You either adapt to society or you're fucked, basically. You're fucked. Mm-hmm. By society standard, that is. By society standard. But, so, they adapt, I see it all the time. People getting pets, some getting kids. Because, they feel so lost in life. They know they're lost in life, but they don't want to do it alone. And they're having big trust issues because they keep inviting more people into their life, and those people that they're attracting are people from their old environment, and it's just the same repetitive stuff that's happening, and it's just creating more trust issues within them. So what do? They turn to animals. They turn to having kids, and they want something to look like, I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything right. You see, they depend on me. I'm doing everything right, And that's pretty much what it is, because it all goes back to pleasing the guardians, the parents. Look at me. Look, picture perfect. I got a pet. I got a couple pets. The picture perfect single life. You see it all the time. Dude with his dog, girl with her dog. It's picture perfect. Picture perfect single life, and then you got the picture perfect family life. When you get a kid, you want it all to look picture perfect, but really deep down behind those pictures, you're crumbling down because you keep rejecting yourself. You keep ignoring yourself. You're focusing on the outside and pleasing everyone else, and look at me and my family, look at me and my pets. You keep running away from yourself to do those things, and that stuff will catch up with you, especially if you're not on any kind of substance. I mean, it catches up with you on substance. It's just substances, they will mask it so you don't feel a dang thing, right? But, you're coasting, you're continuing to do that. You got your dysfunctional household that you are creating now, because you didn't look within yourself to help yourself, in the process. You keep ignoring that fact. That is a key thing that you have to do. And, your pets, your kids, and then sometimes, it's baby mama drama or baby daddy drama, whatever. Because both of you guys are dysfunctional. You both know you shouldn't have dang kids. You both know that. But yet you're going butting heads, blah, 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 blah. And then you make up, and then you separate, and then you make up, and then you separate, and then you make up. See, they don't take into consideration what this is doing to their kid's mind, number one. Like mental trauma to the kid, when they keep seeing mommy and daddy arguing, mommy and daddy leaving, mommy and daddy arguing, mommy and daddy leaving. They don't know they don't know what that's doing. They don't care what that's doing, because all they're doing is focused on pleasing one another. That is all it is. Pleasing one another. For what? You're not doing anything for yourself. You're not gaining anything for yourself. When you take care of the animals and stuff, when you're in a dysfunctional mind, yeah, you could be taking care of the animals, but you're taking care of them because you think that's what you need to do. But really, you should have an animal to not only care for something, but to find care within yourself by caring for the animal. I mean, that's just how that process works. But a lot of people look at animals as a necessity, as something to take pictures with, something that I need when I need it. You know, I'll be doom and gloom and blah, 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 blah. I need my gosh dang dog. And then say you don't need your dog. Say you're dating and stuff. Doggy, you get neglected or you get dropped off at my mom and dad's house or you get dropped off here and there and the other while I'm going to go date and stuff. You hear me, doggy? Just neglect of an animal, don't you? Just do it. You don't give a fuck about that dog, whatever pet you dropping off. You don't care about that dog's mental health. You don't care about none of that because you got it for the wrong reasons in the first place. You know? You got it for selfishness. And people have kids for selfishness too. Yes, they do. Man, I mean, the line, it skyrockets on the reason why people get kids. Number one could be food stamps. They want more food stamps. They want more money on tax returns. They want all this, blah, 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 blah. Like, there's all kinds of schemes and scams to get for just having kids, and people manipulate the system all the time with kids, you know? Now, what do you think that's going to do to the kid's mind in those kind of environments? That's what I mean. And that person had to learn it from someone else. They had that. You know where they learned it from. They learned it from the environment that they grew up in. Like, you know what I mean? This stuff, it's not like they just came up with it. This is stuff that has been adapted to within an environment that person was born into. They don't normalize it. They don't see the dysfunction and corruption within it. They don't care about mental health because guess what? Mental health don't even exist to a high majority of people in society because they're too busy running away from themselves to even acknowledge that mental health even exists. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. That's why it is very important to acknowledge yourself before you do anything. If you get a pet, yes, you want to take care of the pet to take care of the pet. But the point of having a pet is to also find care within yourself by taking care of another living being, you know, taking care of something that is more helpless than you, you know, and you're learning and you're being more thankful for what you have because you're only imagining this little chihuahua be out in the wild and coyotes running after it and stuff, but yet he's in your house. You're thankful for that. You're thankful that you're protecting him. You're thankful that you're going to give that chihuahua the best life ever, you know. But the thing is when it comes to taking care of dogs and stuff, I see this all the time too. They take their dog out. How long are they going to take that dog out? What, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute? And then it's back into the damn cellar for you, doggy. Right back in the damn cellar. Yeah, by cellar, I mean like apartment. Or some people leave their dang dogs in a kennel. Like, what? Like, yeah, for real though. That stuff happens too. Because they get these rambunctious dogs. They get these big dogs because they're cute as hell when they're little. But then them things get bigger. So what do you think these immature people do? They keep them in a kennel. Let's take it out when they need to be taken out, but put it right back in the kennel. Because it's too rambunctious. It's creating all kinds of drama and stuff into the apartment and all this stuff. Oh, no, my hair's about to fall out. No, I don't like this. Get back in your cage. But yet you take it out, it's only, what, 3 minutes? Or what, I've also seen this too, where they take the dog out. Okay, so my apartment complex, they have like a little patio outside your room. People take their dog out like that. Just go shit on the patio. That's all the little walking space that thing gets. Like, man, fuck. Like, no thanks, man. No thanks. It's dysfunctional as hell. And I don't know why people see how that is fine, you know? They're living too. They have mental health issues too. Oh, especially with dogs and cats and the other blah, blah, blah. Because guess what? They have no voice. And that is one reason why animals get taken advantage by us sick human beings all the time. Because they ain't going to speak about stuff that you're doing. They ain't going to speak about nothing because there ain't nothing that they could say. They don't know how to speak the English. They don't know how to speak the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s and all that stuff. They don't know how to do that. So guess what? You got manipulators and sickos and all that other bullshit taking advantage of animals. Because of that. Oh no, he's a happy dog. Yeah, he happy. Yeah. Yeah, he happy dog. Yeah, he's a happy dog. Is he really, though? Yeah, look at him. He's smiling. Look at him. He panting. Oh, that's a good doggy. Yeah, good doggy. Yeah. Well, why isn't his water bowl filled up? He looks very thirsty and dehydrated. Oh, see, I give him water only at certain times. Right now, he ain't getting no water right now. But he a happy dog. He's a happy dog. Yes, he is. Ain't you, good boy? Yes, you are. You a happy dog. He's a happy dog. That's one thing that people do with the animal abusers, with the dogs. They neglect them of water. And they only give them water when they want to give them water. And then even that, it's still not a lot of water when they give it to them. Like, you know what I mean? They take advantage of these innocent animals for their own cruel behavior because they have something that's actually depending on them. You mean to tell me this dog depends on a sicko like you? Are you serious? You're not a nice person at all. I've seen you around dogs. I've seen you around kids, blah, 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 blah. And you mean to tell me that dog likes to be around you? That dog don't like being around that sicko person, blah, blah, blah. You know, the dog, it's forced. The dog cannot speak, guys. The dog is not happy. People don't care. They don't care. They don't care. And then what's really, really baffling is the FBI and stuff they post that, or whatever it was. Now, animal abuse is a very serious crime. And, yeah, you get really, really big trouble if you do it now. But yet you look at the fine print is for just dogs and cats and, like, just household pets that are normalized for humans. And it's like, you guys are a bunch of hypocrites. And you guys are a bunch of hypocrites. Oh, yeah, let's just mark out slaughterhouses and all that other bullshit, right? You know what I mean? Like, totally. They're not animals. That's food. What are you talking about? No, last I checked, from what I learned in biology, that they are actually animals. No, they're not. What are you talking about? That's food. They're food. Food, yeah, man, food. All right, man. Do you guys see how dysfunctional it all is? It's just all dysfunction. You know what I mean? And this stuff happens in the world, man. This happens in the real world all the time. No matter if you're neglected by your own kind, you're neglected by human contact because you're just a crazy, weird person, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? Those type of people get pets. Those people get a house full of pets. Those are the people that are running the puppy mills and all that other stuff because no one wants to deal with them because they're sickos. They're sickos that ain't cool. They're just disgusting people, really. Well, really, they're not. I'm not going to say. I mean, they are disgusting. They face it. People like that who do this stuff and they have no sense of empathy or whatnot on what they're doing. I mean, it's just kind of like it's really disgusting. It really is. But also, you need to think that person is mentally suffering severely, and that was a learned thing from their environment that they grew up. Just like the person who runs the dog, who gets the dog and don't ever give it water. You know, and he makes them run long miles without water and all that stuff and keeps it cooped up in the kennel to get it mean and stuff. Like, he's doing that because he learned that. He learned that from when he was a kid growing up in that environment that he grew up in. You know what I mean? This stuff is learned. This stuff is traditional. Our dysfunction is continuously traditional, and it just gets handed down. You're picking up mommy and daddy's hand-me-downs. Just like your mommy and daddy picked up your grandparents' hand-me-downs. Just like your grandparents picked up your great-grandparents' hand-me-downs. And so on and so on and so on. Yeah. So sometimes the evolution of the tradition gets evolved in a little bit. But a lot of the key main ingredients, those are going to stay the same. While little areas of it might get skimmed off, you know, man, it's about 2021. We don't need to be doing this no more, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna slim this down, but we're gonna keep the main ingredients in though. You know, we're not cutting out the full. No, we got to keep it traditional. We got to keep mommy and daddy proud. Because believe it or not, that's how a lot of people live. Make mommy and daddy proud. They don't live for making yourself proud, making you, the person living your life, proud. They live for making mommy and daddy and Grammy and grandpa happy, proud, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, the whole point of life is to make yourself happy, to please yourself. But when you start adding in innocent lives, you start bringing in kids, you start bringing in pets, you start bringing in all this stuff, you're opening doors that you can't even see because you can't even acknowledge mental health within yourself that you clearly need help. But then you're going to bring a kid to be dependent on a mentally ill person? What do you think that's going to do for you? You're opening doors that you can't even acknowledge because you ain't even helping yourself. How are you going to help that fucking kid? Provide? That's it? What about his emotions? What about his emotional development? What about all that stuff, huh? Oh, you ain't going to be there? Well, why not? Oh, because you don't even do that for yourself. So how are you going to supply it for him or her? That don't make any sense. That's how it is. It's just never-ending cycle of dysfunction. You get dysfunctional-ass people raising dysfunctional-ass kids, and these dysfunctional-ass parents raising dysfunctional-ass pets. I mean, it's a never-ending process, man. It's a never-ending process, man. It is a never-ending process. But one of the things that I have acknowledged, one of the readings I've done, I probably talked about it in the podcast because when I read about it, it was actually pretty cool. And it's something that I think I would do if I can acknowledge that I think I'm responsible enough to handle a pet. The first pet I want to start off is just hamster because I want to relive that moment. I want to relive that moment of my childhood. I want to relive that hamster moment. See, my friend, she's got guinea pigs. One of the guinea pigs is pregnant. She wanted to give me one. And I was like, no. See, guys, this right here, this is what I'm talking about. See, I can acknowledge. Now, listen. She was like, hey, James, would you like to have a guinea pig? And I was like, no. She was like, well, and then I started explaining, I'm like, guinea pigs need two. They need a pair, too. And honestly, I don't even know if I could take care of one. You know what I mean? Because if you were to take just one guinea pig, you're already fucking up that guinea pig's life. Fucking up its mental and just messing up its whole natural instinct is all because guinea pigs are pairs, man. You can only buy them in two or more. You cannot buy them singular. And there are people who buy singular and you don't know what you're doing to that guinea pig because you can't even acknowledge it. You can't even acknowledge mental health issues within yourself. How are you going to acknowledge mental health within that guinea pig? You ain't going to be able to. Now, guaranteed there might be some people who completely neglect themselves and just neglect themselves to a whole, but they have full-blown studies on a certain species of animals that they like and they learn all about its mental health and stuff. That the example is constantly setting in for those kind of people. The example is basically you taking care of this pet like high commodity. You're taking care of its mental health and all that stuff. You've obsessed over this species of animal because you can relate to it in some way. Kind of like with me and possums. I love possums because they're so misunderstood, just like how I was misunderstood. And when I was growing up, I wanted a pet possum. But now that I'm a grown adult, I got help and all that stuff. I can acknowledge that I really don't want a pet possum because that's a lot of responsibility. That's really a lot of responsibility. Because not only, just having a pet possum, it's an odd type of pet, but also you got to think about people who are they going to care for them? Like it was in vets and stuff like that. You got to get all that stuff set up with even having something that's such an abnormal pet. But the thing is, see, that's the problem with humans. We have learned in our environments, ownership is the key. And ownership, I want this, I want that puppy, I want this, I want that, I want. But the thing is when they don't want it no more, an innocent life gets jeopardized from it, And when an innocent life gets jeopardized, whether it's a dog, cat, whatever, hamster, whatever, it don't matter. It's a life period. If you literally took in something with means to take care of it, and you suck at that fucking job, and you just fuck up that innocent life like it's nothing, you've opened doors that you can't even acknowledge because you keep ignoring yourself. Because if you were to take care of yourself, you can acknowledge that a life is a life. They're living just like me. Look at this. Like if you were a dog and you were in one of those households where you stayed cooped up in a dang cage all day, you get home, or the owner gets home, takes you out for 3 minutes on a chain, and then brings you right back in. Now, how miserable does that sound? Now, even if there's people that just take out their dog for 3 minutes and just keep telling it to come back in, you're not letting that animal live its life too. You're only wanting it to accessorize for your own living. It's kind of like on the movie The Campaign. He has his pugs that he spoils and stuff, but when he was running for president or running for governor, it was all about looks. They replaced his pugs with these 2 dogs, Scout and Commander or something like that. And but it was just for pictures. It was just for looks. It was just, look at my pet. Look at my pet. He can do this. He can hunt. He can do this. But what about what that dog wants, what about what he wants to do? You see the dog wanting to go waller in the mud and stuff, and you get all mad at it. You say, you can't do that. You can't do that. The dog's being a dog. He supports you with your life. Why can't you support him with his? You know what I mean? See, that's what I mean. When you start to take care of yourself in your life, you really start to really appreciate that a life is a life. They're living just like you and me. They might do some different things, and you cannot control their natural instinct. But the thing is we have tamed dogs to not even be like their natural instinct ways. Like, to not get in the mud because, I'll get beat for this, or something like that, or, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is the dogs and stuff, they're just adapting to the chaotic environment that's already created. Nothing's wrong with the dog. We fucking pollute their mind with bullshit that they're trying to adapt to because they're on a leash the whole time. But I guarantee you this, if you were to let that dog just be off a leash and stuff and not give it a name or something, see if it'll stay. Man, that dog ain't gonna put up with your bullshit. He's gonna run away. He don't want to be in your dysfunctional ass environment because he will be able to acknowledge that this is a dysfunctional environment. I'm running away. But now when you start giving it love and affection and stuff like that and just cuddling it, overly obsessing, cuddling with it and stuff like that, and just using it for your own emotional problems. But what about when the dog's having emotional problems? Get away from me. Leave me alone. I already took you out. Leave me alone. Get off me. You guys see it all the time. They don't acknowledge that life. They don't acknowledge that that dog has a life too, that dog has feelings too. They don't acknowledge that because it has nothing to do with them. So that's what I mean, selfish mentality. When you get pets and stuff, you have to be selfless. That is the whole key of getting a pet, period, is to practice being selfless. You're not taking care of your life. You're taking care of another life. Another life that is more vulnerable than yours, considering on what you get as a pet. See, that's why I would want to stick with small stuff like a hamster. Or if I ever get a dog, it'll be the smallest thing, like a Chihuahua. Because I know a big dog won't have no problems in the wild. I know a Chihuahua would be eaten up alive, period. So, I would rather have something that's more vulnerable, and I could just spoil it and give it the best life it needs, learn about its mental health and what stuff but pretty much dogs already know what they need to do. You just need to let them do it. You know what I mean? They want to waller in mud, let them waller in mud. Just go wash them off. I mean, come on. The dog would do the same thing for you. The dog goes on every place that you take it and stuff, and it puts up with it like a champ because, oh, maybe they'll let me do this now. Maybe they'll let me do this now. No, you can't go in that mud. Get away from there. Get away from there. Yank on the chain. Yank on the chain. Yank on the chain. Like, it's got a life too. It's a life too. It's a living life too. And then the sad thing about it is dogs' lives are smaller than ours. And that's the thing. There's a lot of dogs that spend their whole life in nothing but misery because they're not being treated how they need to be treated because their owner don't know how to treat themselves by themselves. You know what I mean? If there's no self-love within yourself, how in the fuck are you going to take care of a pet? How the fuck are you going to take care of a kid? If you're not putting in that self-care for yourself and looking into what's going on with your mental health, how are you going to take care of another innocent life? You know? Now, if you're in a predicament and, you know, you can admit that you were in a chaotic situation, that you got kids or something, because I know them accidents happen. When you get caught up in the wrong trap, crazy stuff happens. You know, people do the craziest things to get you on a ball and chain and just keep lock of you, you know. And sometimes that's when, and see, that's one of the things that I don't like, you know. That's one of the things that really scares me too. You know, the stereotype, well, it's not even a stereotype because this stuff really happened. Like people poking holes in condoms and stuff just to get pregnant by someone that they keep having arguments with. And then they do that. And then guess what? A kid comes. So now they're like, you're stuck with that dysfunctional person because you kept making the choice to go back to him. Well, now an innocent life's in play, right? So say you can acknowledge that I fucked up. The best thing to do with the kid is let them know that, pretty much just show the example that you're flawed. Show them that you're working on yourself. Show them that you're going to therapy. Show them that you're trying to do everything better. That is what the example that needs to be set. But the thing is a lot of our guardians, a lot of our parents, a lot of our, people that take care of us, they don't want that example because they don't want the kid to think that, you know, something's really wrong with mommy and daddy or something like that. Listen, that kid already don't know what the fuck is going on 24/7. That kid don't know what the fuck you're doing. Now, yeah, you can teach it a bunch of stuff when you're getting help and stuff, but it still don't know what's going on. But I guarantee you're putting in a healthy seed by getting help, and you know, by getting help and doing what's right for yourself, because it just shows within the environment. When you start to work on yourself, the environment starts to blossom like a beautiful flower. And then everyone else starts to blossom because you're taking care of yourself. But that's the thing. When it comes to society, everything's alcohol-driven, pill-driven, you know. Those are the majorities. Alcohol-driven, pill-driven, cigarette-driven, you know what I mean? And weed-driven too. People do that stuff too. You know, and it's like, you know, instead of just, well, now they're just putting in other problems within themselves too. But that's their prerogative, that's their choice. But the thing is, when an innocent life is at play, because that's usually what happens when you get into, you know, activities and stuff like that. Stuff starts to happen. Then an innocent life gets put into play, whether it's a pet or a kid. Either way, you're putting an innocent life in your toxic environment. You literally are destroying an innocent life because you continuously want to run away from yourself. And instead of working on yourself, you just want to focus on destroying yourself. Because, well, you don't even look at it as destroying yourself. You're just pleasing what's on the outside. But that's your coping mechanism at the end of the day. Destroying yourself. Because the real you can't be accepted. But you can't come to terms with that. Because you done came this far in life. There's no going back in your mind. I can't go back. I don't even remember what I am. I've done pleased so many people in this life. I've taken so many people, dating left and right. And, I got 2 kids or 3 kids or something like that. I got a dog, and you done added doors upon doors upon doors upon doors. Because whatever doors that are opening up within those lives that you done put in your toxic environment, those doors are also opened up to you, and you can't even acknowledge those kind of doors because you don't even know what you're creating because you keep ignoring your own mental problems. When you ignore your mental problems, you're going to ignore the mental health problems of other people as well because you just don't care. Because you don't care about yourself. Therefore, when you don't care about yourself, you don't care about anyone else at all. I'm just saying. Because if you can't acknowledge it within yourself, you're not ever going to be able to acknowledge it within other people. You're not. So, and then when the kid starts to speak up and tell you about how this, that, and the other starts to irritate them or something like that, or, bring it up and you don't like that, you look at it as disrespect. But the kid is just being honest because the kid is just telling you stuff. The kid is telling you stuff that you need to listen to, but you're just a little kid. I'm a grown adult. You should be depending on me for this stuff. You don't tell me what to do. No, sir. And it's just like, wow. So that's how you mold your kids, huh? That's pretty cool. Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool stuff. Like, listen, like sometimes I just want to look at them and I just want to say, how does it feel to mold an innocent life like that, man? How does that feel? You feel like you're a king or something? Like molding and sculpting an innocent life, knowing that the world is so big and so much to learn for such a little child, and you're just sitting there molding and sculpting and for your own toxic environment, to make the toxic environment comfortable, you learn to censor them so they don't speak about your bad habits, and you tell them that it's just normal. It's just normal. No, that's fine. Everyone does this. Everyone does this. Everyone does this. Everyone does this. But then when the kid gets old enough to leave that toxic environment, they literally realize everyone really don't do that stuff. Everyone really don't do this. Everyone really don't do this. Why would you do that to a fucking kid, man? Why would you do that to your own kid? Oh, because you want to continue to ignore yourself. Don't you think that's kind of selfish? I think that's pretty selfish. I think it's pretty selfish. To destroy an innocent life. To destroy an innocent life, period. I think if you get a pet, you better give that pet the best goddamn life ever. Because number one, that pet is not going to live as long as you. Its years are smaller than yours. The least you can do is put in the study time, learn about this animal that you just bought, learn about what keeps it happy, and accommodate it as the book says, or accommodate it even better. You know what I mean? But the thing is, books, reading, study, species. No, we ain't doing this in this household. Oh, heck no. You think I got time to do that stuff? Huh? And then it's like, wait a minute. So you got time to go get an innocent life, a pet. You got time to go get a pet, right? An innocent life. Take it in your environment, but not learn about it? Hey, you listen here. He's just an iguana. He just eats bugs. I just want to watch him eat bugs. Okay, like, what about other stuff that he eats? Man, he just eats bugs. That's it. It's just bugs. There's nothing else he needs. Nothing else. Like, that's the thing. People get these pets. They don't read about the pet. They don't study on the pet. They don't take any kind of time in consideration for the innocent life that they just put in their own environment. Because they don't care. It's all about accessorizing, accessories. Just how when people have kids and they're constantly sculpting and manipulating the kid for their own gain to make their environment, to make their own dysfunction that they live in 24/7 comforting as possible, because they're shutting up the kid and censoring the kid to not speak up about stuff that they do because they know that it's bad. They don't need a mirror constantly looking at them that what they got to work on within themselves, because they don't want to look at what they got to work on within themselves because they run away from themselves. Home is supposed to be an escape for me to run away from myself. Sorry, that's not how it works, man. It's not how it works. And that's how kids end up getting butchered at such a young age mentally, because people don't put into the consideration on any of that. They don't care. They didn't care to learn about mental health. So you think they really give a fuck about yours? They don't. They don't. And when you start speaking about it, it goes one ear and out the other, and that's about it. One ear and out the other, that's about it. They might tell you some pleasing words to, sound like they're supporting you, but at the end of the day, it just went one ear and out the other. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about, some algorithms and some chemistry and stuff. I don't know what he was talking about. That's how it sounds to them. This just sounds like a big old thing of chemistry, algorithms, and formulas, and that's what it sounds like to them. It's just too much. And when you bring up an innocent life, like a pet, like, oh, whoa, cool, man. Whoa, you got a skunk? Like, how, that's really cool, man. Yeah, man, I totally deodorized my skunk so it can live in my apartment with me. But isn't that a defense mechanism for the skunk? Yeah, it sure is. But the thing is, I wouldn't be able to have it if it had that defense mechanism, so I removed it. Don't you think that's kind of horrible? No, man. People think I'm the coolest person in the world because I tell people I have a pet skunk, and I tell them that, yeah, you can pet it. And they say, well, oh, won't it spray me? No, it won't, because I removed its defense mechanism. So you removed the only defense mechanism that skunk had. If that skunk gets loose, he's going to be a dead motherfucker. That's what he's going to be, a dead motherfucker. You fucked up an innocent life. Good for you, man. Good for you. Karma's going to taste really good when it comes around and bites you. Like, that's just how it works. That's how it works. For pets, for anything that's living that you take in to take care of, or you really literally ruin its own defense mechanisms for your own gain, or anything that is benefiting your accessorizing. You get what I'm trying to say. I don't know the word I'm looking for. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. If you manipulate and sabotage stuff, living beings, for your own comfort, karma's going to come back and get you, because you're literally torching an innocent life that has nothing to do with you. Just like the people with cats. Oh, yep, had to get the cat declawed. Oh, why'd you do that? Well, he kept clawing on my couch and all this stuff, and I don't like him clawing on my couch, so I got him declawed. But wait a minute, you chose to get a cat. You know that cats do this. Why would you not accommodate? Why would you not accommodate what they do? That's what they do naturally. You took away its only defense mechanism. That cat gets loose out in the wild. He's a dead cat. He's got no way to defend himself. Well, he's an indoor cat. He's an indoor cat. Okay, so you literally take the innocent cat, take it out of its natural instinct, period, tame it, but what if it does? What if it does get out? What if it does get out? Because I tell you, I was the reason why one of the cats died in my mom's house, my mom and dad's house, when I was little, because I was impatient. I was a little kid. I was in middle school, I think so. I was taking the dogs out before I went to bed. It was like 3 in the morning or so. And, well, my mom's cat got out. And I kept calling for him. Get back in. Get back in. He was not listening. And I was getting impatient. It was cold outside. Blah, 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 blah. Just looking for every excuse in the book. And I just said, fine. You want to stay outside? Then you stay outside. And I shut the door. And, yeah. Coyotes got a hold of him. Right on our front porch. Right on our front porch. And I thought I told my mama that cat died because of me when I was little. But I guess mama blacked out when I did tell her, because when I told her again, because I don't know, we lost a dog, another dog. Mama lost her dog recently because Well, the dog was dying anyway, and she decided to run away. And so I was trying to be there to comfort my mom. And, I brought up, Maya, because she plays a big role on my head too. I'm going to get a tattoo of her too. But, and I was also bringing up Elvis, Elvis, remember the cat, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, yeah. And I said, yeah, Mom, he plays on my mind too, because I know. Because I was the reason why he died. And Mom said, I didn't know that. I didn't know you killed him. And I said, well, yeah. So I started telling Mom, I just got impatient. I just shut the door, But the thing is, see, that's what happens in our minds. When we hear something, if someone, period, lives in denial their whole life, they already know how to master, a sense of denial. And if they have a perfect image of you and they don't want to picture you doing something for something that they found precious, something that accommodated them as like an accessory or a sense of comfort for their own well-being, if they hear something that came out of that, that you torched, you literally torched or scolded something of theirs that was precious to them because of your impatience or something like that, they'll look at you and they'll be in disbelief, like, I can't believe you did that. But as time will progress, they have learned how to sweep it under the rug and just completely forget. Instead of taking the lesson learned of the situation, basically ask yourself, now, why did you respond in this matter? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? What did I do to set the example for you to even learn that type of behavior? Blah, 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 blah. Like, it all breaks down and breaks down and breaks down. See, one thing that I've learned from law of attraction, things happen for a reason in your life. They happen for a reason. And it's always a learning lesson. Some are good lessons, some are bad lessons. But you always have to remember, what you attract is what you are, what you have inside of you, or it's something that you need to learn within yourself. Usually when it comes to a trait that you need to add into yourself, you're going to find, that's a very broad spectrum to speak on. So maybe I started too early on something like that. I'd have to do another video for that on another day. Oh yeah. It's on 2030 and 2840. Jeez Louise. So yeah, I can't get into that. But yeah, type of obstacles and stuff come into your way for a reason. And it's basically, when it comes to those type of obstacles, you have to acknowledge why that obstacle has been presented to you and look within yourself, like, what is going on? What happened to cause this obstacle? How can I better this obstacle so it don't happen again, type deal. That's how you do it. That's the best way that I can summarize it, basically. But it's really a broad spectrum to even talk about. But yeah, that's just how it is, though, man. But yeah. Shoot, now that I think about it, though, I should probably get a tattoo of Elvis, too. Elvis the cat. Get one of him, too. Put him on there, too. Even though, the Maya one, that definitely deserves it. She's definitely good one. But Elvis, I didn't really have no ill with him or anything. Like, he was just outside not listening, and I was just like, fine, you want to be outside? You stay outside. Well, the thing is Elvis wasn't declawed. Mama couldn't declaw him, because that was her baby. But our other cat, she got declawed. But he did not. He was special. That was Mama's baby. Like, that was her baby. But I know that I told her, though. I know that I told her. Heck, I don't even know when I told her. But either way, see, that's the thing, too. The universe makes you do stuff, to repeat stuff, for a reason. Because sometimes some people need a wake-up call. They need that wake-up call. They need that refresher of something that happened, Like, man, I remember when my caseworker just taught me how to apologize and just take responsibility for the past and how to put it to peace. Because that's one thing that they do in like Alcoholics Anonymous too and stuff. You go back and you apologize to people from your past. And it's tough at first. I mean, I honestly didn't care. Like, well, when it came to my family, I didn't care. I brought up everything in the book. Like, I didn't care one bit. But when it came to, like, apologizing to, like, people of your past that you went to school with, because the thing is, like, number one, say you ain't even friends with them on the platforms no more, like on Facebook and stuff. You ain't friends with none of them. You done grown up and stuff. But you got to come to peace with this obstacle that's been bothering your mind 24/7, or maybe every month, or sometimes it's a rare occasion where it just flickers and a flashback happens and you remember. The only way you're going to come to peace with it is if you apologize, or, just take credit, or just say whatever it was, or just bring it up to the person. Just come to peace with that past. And believe it or not, it's really not that bad, because a lot of the times, heck, all of it pretty much, no one remembered. When I apologize for stuff, for my mean antics and stuff that I had as a kid and stuff, when I apologized, they said they didn't even remember, but they appreciate me apologizing for it. And I'm just like, wow, this is so fucking easy. Like, none of these people remember none of it, guys. That's the whole point of, like, when programs like Alcoholics Anonymous and stuff makes you do that, because those people probably don't even remember a motherfucking thing. Now, when it comes to apologizing for stuff in your adult life, now that's a whole different story. See, I was apologizing. I was coming to peace with my past in school-wise, because I didn't really have no past in my adulthood. Hell, I was still an adult, but I was a dysfunctional-ass adult, and I didn't really have no friends or nothing. I was, just a recluse. A recluse, that's all I was. But, so I just came to peace with my past, and that's how I moved forward. But yeah, that's just how it is, man. But yeah, when it came to apologizing for my parents, about opening up about stuff like that, about the cat, about Maya, about all that stuff, about anything that I did in the house, I can't even remember what half the stuff that I was brought up. But I remember we talked for like a solid gosh dang hour, because I told them, I want to talk to y'all. And so we all got into the front room, and I just started bringing up a bunch of bullshit. Like, just a bunch of bullshit from my past. Just apologizing for stuff that my parents didn't even know, stuff my sister didn't know. Just bringing up everything and just apologizing for everything. And I remember, like, my dad was getting so sick of it. He was like, I really don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this right now, James. I don't want to hear this right. Because I didn't give no fucks. I didn't care. I'm trying to come to peace with my past, and I'm doing it right here, right now, right there. But see, the reason why I didn't care is because I wanted my family to take mental health serious too. That was why I really don't care. I didn't care about anything, because I wanted them to see how much I've been progressing. And of course, at that time, it was still rough. Of course, now, geez, I'm blossoming like a beautiful flower 24/7 now. I think everyone can acknowledge that now. But see, back in the day, when I was just starting it and apologizing for everything, I was still trying to get away from toxicity. It's still very hard progress to get out of, because you're miles away from getting away from it. Like, yeah, you just started getting help, but you think this is the only way out? No, you got to stay in it. You got to stay on the grind. You got to stay on the game. You got to stay on top of it. You got to stay putting in the goals for 150% each week, blah, blah, blah. That's what my caseworker did. She set out a bunch of goals to do in the week. I'd have all them goals completed by the end of the week. Sometimes I'd finish them up early, and Jay would just set up goals, and it was stuff like apologizing for the past and all that stuff. I'd get it all done. I'd get every bit of it done. I didn't care. Get it all done, because I wanted to relieve myself. Just get it all out. Just get all this toxicity away from me. I needed a detox. Thing is, man, you got to remember, you were brought up in whatever environment created you. That whatever created the dysfunction within you, that environment you grew up, that created it. However many years you spent, that's how many steps you're going to have to climb on that staircase to get to freedom. You got to sacrifice. You got to sacrifice comfort and sacrifice pleasure. You got to sacrifice all that stuff. And just stay focused on yourself. Focus on yourself, period. Focus on yourself, period. And when you do, you're going to be climbing that staircase. It's going to start off rough and stuff, but it gets easier. There's going to be some easier times where it's like, wow, I'm actually getting a break. This is nice. And then out of nowhere, poof, hit up. You're getting hit. It's getting harder. It's getting even harder now. You're stuck. Obstacles are coming left and right. And then you get a taste of freedom. You feel good. And then poof, more obstacles coming in. It's all coming nonstop, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's just, that's how it is. Until you get it mastered out, you get a regimen mastered out, where now you're fine. You're noticing when you finally reach that point, majority of your time is by yourself. When you have reached that point, then you're going to be accomplishing great feats. Because you have no distractions around you. It's just you. It's just you. But see, that's why I want to wait, like, until I get like a hamster or something like that, because I want to make sure that everything's cool with me, but my life, I acknowledge my life. That's what I do. I acknowledge my life. And I know how much of a responsibility it is to bring in any kind of life in your household. You're creating a responsibility for yourself. And that's one thing that people do. They say they have a kid, and they have nights where they don't want to feel responsible. They drop them off with people. They start playing the blame game. I can't live this life. I can't do this. I can't. But yet the innocent life is just looking up at them, trying to figure out what's going on. Mommy just being mommy, or daddy just being daddy, whatever. The mommy and daddy don't care because they're trying to neglect you. They're trying to neglect you so they can go out and hang with the boys, or hang out with the girls, or hang out with whatever. They don't care. They don't care. If they're ignoring themselves, well, gosh, they're going to ignore you too, kid. That's how life is. That's how it is, and it's a sad, sad situation. That's a sad, sad situation. That's why, man, when it comes to another life, I can acknowledge how precious it is and how valuable it is. You can't put a price tag on no life. But yet you got lives being sold at like flea markets from puppy mills and stuff for like what? $100, $200. Do you think that life is worth $100, $200? Yeah, you ain't gonna live long anyway, blah, blah, blah. Are they only love on the pet for just a little bit during its developing stage, but when it starts getting bigger, they just neglect it, put it in a shelter? Like, put yourself in its shoes. Put yourself in them shoes. How would you like to be neglected and put into a shelter? Like, because you're grown up now, you're not a baby no more. You're a grown-ass man. Now they're sending you to the shelter to die. Like, put yourself in those shoes. So however many lives that you fuck up, pet, kid, innocent lives in general, how many other lives that you fuck up, period, for your own personal gain and your own personal benefit, and for your own accessorizing and all that stuff to make you look good or something like that, you're going to pay the price with karma. Karma, period. It comes around no matter what. If a life form is being used for your own gain, for your own selfish benefits, it's going to come around and bite you. And that's just how it is. It comes back even harder. But anyway, guys, 3523. I'm heading out. Y'all stay positive. I'm out. Peace.